and welcome to Live with Michele. And with me tonight is Brittney Swan.
Hey, woo, 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 woo. How's it going?
Brittney's in the house.
I am. It's good to see you, Michele.
Good to see you. And we're going to get the little ticker going because I like people to see your name twice at least.
Ooh, hello, that's me, guys.
My purple, of course. I love for everybody when they start coming on and joining us to tell us where they're from. And we're going to start talking with Brittney. I think there's a delay too, so.
Okay.
At least that's what I've heard other people say. Oh yeah, that's not on my live. Helps when you can look at your phone. All right. Yeah. So, hi Rebecca.
Woo, woo. Hello, hello.
Woo, woo, go Brett.
That's cute. I love how it pops up. This is cute. I love it.
I'm learning my tools.
Use your tools. I say that often.
Do you? Okay. Well, let's kind of warm up the conversation and let's share a little bit. So, tell me about you. What's not the work?
Oh no,
Brittney. Tell us about Brittney.
Well, I am currently a CEO of my business, but when I'm not doing that, I am a mother and a wife. And I've been doing recruitment for over 15 years, and now I've kind of moved towards streamlining recruitment processes. So I help recruiters now, and I currently work with the big four, but personally, right now my life is my work. But other than that, I like to sing.
Are you going to do a number for us tonight?
And I like llamas. So, singing llamas, that's just about me. Even though my last name is Swan, I might have married into the wrong animal, but that's okay.
Should have stuck with family.
Yeah.
Into the wrong animal. Okay.
Maybe we'll change it. I don't know.
All right. And if anybody wants to share the broadcast, we appreciate that too. So a greater reach, because Brittney's going to be answering questions and we want to see how many people we can help tonight. So
yeah. I'm really excited to answer any questions on the recruitment process, what you should be putting in your resume, what you shouldn't be putting on your resume. How would you talk about DUIs? I get that all the time. What would you talk about or leave out if you are someone of a certain age? So any questions that you guys have, let's talk through it. Let's go. This is the time to do it while you have a recruiter literally listening to you answering questions. So I'm excited.
One of the things I want to know is, how did you get into this business?
Oh my gosh. Well, when I was young and free and single and babyless, I started out in retail, and I just kind of moved on up through and I started really getting into it when I was working at a clothing company where I got promoted into corporate. And then from there, I started hiring people for a living. And I went 2 companies from Charlotte Russe to L Brands, which encompasses like Henry Bendel and Pink and Victoria's Secret and all those other good companies. And then from there, we went out of retail into property management, where I worked for a CEO and helped them with streamlining their hiring processes. And then I decided to go off on my own and fly like a swan does, and really honed in on what I did best in those processes and got contracted with the big four and started working with a lot of graduates and international students. And it just grew from there. I've been doing this professionally now for the last 5 years, but I do have 15 years of recruitment behind me.
Wow, that's a lot of experience.
I know. I'm trying to use some good wrinkle cream so it doesn't show on my face.
I can hook you up with that, just so you know. So what exactly do you do for your clients?
Well, every client I have kind of needs something different. We're not one of those recruitment companies that actually broadcast out your stuff. We more help you get through the recruitment process. And that's through, the interview prep, That's us tailoring your documents specifically to the industry you want to go. If there is a company where they're like, Britt, I'm totally excited about this company. I would need to get in this company. We do tailor documents, but usually they're supposed to be towards industry. And we don't use base templates. We don't have mock drafts. It's literally we tailor every single resume to the client because, like, for instance, we just had a contract with 27 loss prevention agents that lost their job. And the company assumed that we were just going to send out blank, resumes because they were all the same title within the same company. I'm like, no, they have different markets. Some are based on talent, some are based on operational. There's so many different aspects that each person has that their resume should be completely different. And that's what we did.
Excellent. So the resume should reflect the person, not necessarily just the job.
No, because your qualifications and your everything that you house will not change. Your education doesn't change unless you add to it. Your experience doesn't change unless you add to it. All of that stuff should not change. The only thing that you should be changing is if you're changing industry, you can change some of the top summary to reflect looking to utilize these skill sets into this industry. But you should not be changing your entire resume. And people who are changing their entire resume for every application, they're going through, they're changing it really fast, they're making mistakes, they're submitting it, they dwell about it for a week, then they try to submit it again. It's too much. Do it towards your industry and you won't have to change anything. Nada.
Awesome. So what would you say is your main goal for each client?
Getting them to talk to a person.
So at a company, right? Not just like any person.
Well, the recruiter. The recruiter. A lot of people don't even realize that there's this software that scans your resume before it ever hits a human body. And if you don't match that percentage against the job description in which you're applying for, you get one of those lovely automatic rejection emails that like totally lies to you, where they're like, I'm going to keep you on file. And then you never hear from them again. And then they ask you when you try apply again, like, have you applied here before? Do we really not want you? So it's truth. So when you apply to these companies, don't be just going through and applying, because all you should be doing is showcasing your skill sets within your industry. So there's millions of people like you, but how do you move within your company is the only thing you should be highlighting. And a lot of people tell me like, oh, I should dumb down my resume because I'm not sure that they're going to, and that makes me laugh because I'm like, you realize your document's going to your future boss who you think you need to dumb down your resume for. It makes no sense. Makes absolutely no sense. Highlight your skills, get that money, get that job, get to see somebody, then think about what's too prestigious for them to hear. Okay. Let's get you to talk to them.
Now you said I personally don't know a lot about your business. Mm-hmm. So like the electronic thing was news to me.
Yeah.
So you said there's a percentage. Is it the same percentage in every industry that they match, or do you think it's different for different employers? Or
it's different for industry and employers. So for instance, Amazon, 85%, which means if you submit a document that's 82%, you're going to get the rejection email. If you produce a document that's 86%, you get an electronic yes file getting made to be seen. Oh. So it's about, if you would have to do what I do. We pull 6 to 8 heavy hitting job descriptions, usually one above where they're usually at in work status, something slightly senior than what they're currently doing. And we get rid of all the company lingo of all 8. And we say, what are the qualifying factors? And then you take those phrases directly and put them into your resume. If all of them say you need to have client retention needs to be in there. If you need Excel needs to be on there. Like, it's just not always my favorite example to give people. If I have 2 people in the interview and I say, tell me one thing about you and I'll decide who to hire. And one person says, I'm a extremely creative thinker. And the other person says, I know every single software your company houses. I'm probably going to pick the person that knows all the softwares that we're not going to have to train and spend the money on to learn, because the other person is a creative thinker. Like, we're thinking company. Like, creative thinker is amazing if you're in design and those types of jobs. Yes, put that in your resume as an adjective in describing yourself, but as a key qualifying element, well, you have to be creative. You're a creative designer. Put something else, Illustrator, Pivot, like, give me something that makes you qualified, because every single person that applies for a creative director position is creative.
Awesome. It sounds so simple when you say it.
I talk to people and they're like, you've made it so simple. I'm like, because you have emotion, you have all of this experience. What do you let go? What don't you let go of? And as a recruiter, a lot of the recruiters who are especially third hand, they don't know the job. I don't know how to work Python. I just know this person needs to have it, and I know why they need to have it, and I know what industry it's for. So when I'm talking to someone, do you have Python? Do you have Tableau? Do you have this amount of experience? Have you seen this amount of people? Do you have a bachelor's? Cool. Check, check, check. Are you psycho? No, I'm giving you to my boss. I give you to my boss, and then it's completely different. It's tell me a time when, how have you dealt with this? Tell me about the companies and how you've encouraged them. It's completely different from the recruitment interview, which is very bang, bang, qualifying, check, 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 check. That's what I do. So when I build the documents, it's to get you through the ATS system, talk to a person, make sure you don't come off weird, and get you to the second part of the interview. That, people will ask me, will this resume give me the job? I'm like, are you paying for me to sit in the interview with you? I'm really confused, because this is to get you to somebody, but I'm not going to be sitting with you. However, when you look at your document and you're having that freak out moment, it really should be like, okay, yes, I have this experience. Yes, I see this amount of people. Like, it should give you that confidence. And if it doesn't do that, that's the wrong document. Because when you're by yourself, you are by yourself, and that page you're going to stare at. I'll tell you that, especially if it's for an elevated position. And with COVID, everybody has, something going on. Interviews are not just interviews anymore. They're affecting people's income, their family. So more people are getting more nervous during these interviews than usual, because it's riding on a lot. So we have to keep that in mind while we're writing these documents.
Okay. And would you say probably there's a higher number of candidates per position now because of COVID?
Yeah, that's why the ATS like the ATS software, which is an associate tracking software system, is so prominent, because, companies like YouTube, they receive millions of applications. They would be stupid to hire a person to physically look at every application. And if you're, like I said, applying for a tech position and you don't have the prime tech words within your resume, it's going to kick you out. They're going to say, who are you? We don't know you. Bye. And then they're going to pick the people that know all the softwares, have the experience and the education. So, yeah. My biggest thing that I've seen lately is people put their education at the bottom of their resume. And
it doesn't go there.
It does not go there, because it's the first thing you'll see on the document that you're looking at, must have a bachelor's. So as a recruiter, I go, okay, before I read this 2-page document, does he have a bachelor's? I scroll to the bottom, and then I scroll back up, scan for what I'm looking for. Okay, next one. It's literally, people think, oh, it's their job to read a document. It's not. It's my job to find a candidate. If I don't have to read a document, cool. If you got me there faster than me reading 3 pages, awesome. You're more efficient than the people that can't get rid of an extra page. Like, when you guys submit 6-page documents, it makes us think that you don't know how to prioritize or gather your information versus you have all this experience.
Okay, so where does a cover letter fit in, and does it?
Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't. A lot of industries, if you have enough experience, you don't really need a cover letter. The only thing I say is, if you are applying online and you see as a cover letter is an option, some buckets of electronic softwares puts them in 2 buckets. And usually by company standards, they're obligated to check that first bucket of people who submitted cover letters before the yes people who didn't submit cover letters. So you might have 30 yeses in cover letters, and you might be the top one without it, but they're still going through those people first. So it does, if it's put as an option, put you above everybody else. But if they're not asking for it all goes in one electronic file and it is what it is. And then, of course, if they're asking for it to be mandatory, you obviously need to send it. But the cover letter, you only really need it if you are moving industries and you want to explain why. If you are not confident about something, like you have a year gap or a huge gap in employment, you want to explain why before they see the resume, because some people are like, they're going to see this gap and piece me out. I want to explain why before they see it. Or if they're going to be relocating. Other than that, if the companies aren't asking for it, I really don't think you need it. But the cover letter should be all encompassing. So you're not going and changing it. Again, it should be to industry, unless you have a company that you're absolutely head over heels for. It should be to your industry. And then all you're changing is the date and the actual name of title in which it applies to.
Okay. So it's not per job, it's per industry, just to clarify. Industry. Per industry. Good to know. Good to know. Yeah. Now, I know you are located in the U.S. LinkedIn is a global platform, and so is Facebook, right? Yeah. So do you serve clients internationally, or is it strictly U.S.?
No, we actually help clients all over the world. We have many clients in the UK, Australia, Canada, Mexico. I also have partners. So if I can't help them, I have Trisha Chapman in Dubai. I have Derek Tower in Nigeria. Like, I have clients everywhere. So if they come up to me and I'm like, I can't help you, or the time zone or whatever it is, I have people that can at least help them. But we do help, especially international students coming over here. Ren, who we just hired as our global operation, she has a very heavy hand in visas and what that entails. And she can review documents and let you know if these are the appropriate things that they need to have, what's missing from them, what the application process is. So international clients we deal with all the time. But yeah, we help everyone from resumes to, we even do ghost applicating, where we pretend like we're you in the middle of the night and we apply for you. And we're like, hi, I just applied for this job. My name is Betty Smith, and here are my documents I just submitted. And more times than not, within the week, they have 3 interviews lined up because they've messaged all of these people.
Really?
Yeah, it's great. And then we have, our secret packages for CEOs, which are like $5,500 a month, where 2 hours a day for the entire month, we go in and ghost applicate for you.
Wait, 2 hours a day?
For 5 days a week, yeah.
Wow.
That also includes the resume, the cover letter, and the LinkedIn, and the consultation. So it's an all-encompassing package. But yeah, my CEOs like that one. They're just like, so what are jobs that I applied today? I'm like, oh my gosh. Here's your list. Hard at work, I see. Yeah, they're funny. But
awesome. I want to remind anybody, if you have any questions for Brittney, drop them in the comments and we can address them.
Yeah, I love questions. A lot of people lately have been telling me that they haven't had to look for a job in a really long time, and how far back should they go on a resume, and how many years should they put on a resume. And I think it's really important that, you stick to the basics, which is a 3 to 4 jobs, or 10-year span. Yeah, so you would put a 10-year span or 3 to 4 jobs. And then if you have enough experience or extra like academics, you can add a second page or a project page to that. But if it's just of redundant information, you need to stick to one page. Because they're going to be like, oh, okay, you're a graphic designer on this page too. Nice. Like, that's literally what we're going to do. So if it's anything that you remove from your resume, you still need to reflect it at the top. So if you were to remove 3 jobs, the top sentence would be, I have 15 years of experience. And then I'll say, oh, there's only 7 on here. He has 15. Okay, cool. Then that actually gives me a talking piece tell me about the other years. And then I can see if I really care or not, or if it's pliable, or how it relates to the job description that's open. So, a lot of people, they get so nervous or freaked out, or like, oh, I want them to know this, and I want them to know this, and these are the same people that are getting drunk every weekend and getting a babysitter. You guys, chill out. It's okay. These are people, okay? We literally just wait to hear you talk and make sure that, everything is pliable, and we move you on. If we picked up the phone to call you, you're already qualified. We're not going to call people we don't think are qualified. So all you have to do is build upon that and just reassure them at that point. That's all you're doing. And people will ask me all the time, what are your best tips for nailing the initial interview? Be yourself. Be yourself. If you get really nervous and they ask you, what's your biggest weakness? Laugh and say interviews. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks. I do this for a living. Interviews. Yeah. And it shows that you're being genuine. It shows that you're not proving yourself to be above everybody. The first thing that they're going to think is if they are dealing with somebody that's like, I know this job more than recruiter. Well, yeah, because it's not the recruiter's job to run those. It's to find a candidate. So you actually don't know their job. So pump the brakes and reformat your thinking on that, because, they're to find a candidate to see if you're educated or qualified enough to get to the next step, which is the person that would match your education or, your boss. So those are things that you should really be focusing on, rather than this person doesn't know what I'm talking about. Just like, be respectful to their process, their recruiter. They're listening to make sure you're not a jerk, and you just proved that you were. So congratulations. We don't want to work with jerks. I don't think anyone does.
Now, I've heard a lot of people say that you should research the company that you're interviewing for. Do you have any tips on that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look at their LinkedIn page, look at their website. Make sure that your values align with theirs. There's some companies that will never let you work from home. There's some companies that will let you work from home. There's some people that hate working from home. Make sure that if you hate working from home, you're not applying to an at-work company. But the main thing is to remember that the interview process is two ways. Like, you're making sure that the company fits you too. So at any point you're in the interview and the recruiter is being nasty to you or making you feel less than, I promise you, if you stop them and say, you know what, I don't think that this company is going to be a right fit for me. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And you hang up, I guarantee you they'll be way nicer to the next person they talk to. And they're going to dwell on that for a month. Don't let people be rude, especially, there are some bad recruiters out there. Everybody knows, we all see it on LinkedIn. Okay. Bad recruiters. And there are some bad recruiters. Okay. I'm dealing with a client right now who has cancer, and she was talking to somebody, and as soon as they found that out, they dropped her completely. And we found out later that recruiter was based on commission. So as soon as they find the next qualified candidate, drop. So you also need to see the recruiter that you're talking to. Are they commissioned? Are they actually working for the company? Those are things to ask yourself when you're getting dropped or ghosted too, because if they're working for third parties, not all the time. I know great recruiters like Destiny's Recruiting. They're amazing, but are individually contracted recruiters that will not even tell you, like, never mind, we found someone better. They'll just pretend you're like about to talk to someone and then never talk to you again. So do your homework. That's look on the website, but also look at the recruiter. So yeah.
Okay. So there's a lot of people having a hard time finding jobs because there's not a lot out there because of the pandemic. And I know a lot of people are feeling that they're not getting the help they need. Do you have advice for people like that?
Yeah, Yeah, there was a huge like couple months where people who are working at home never had to work at home before, and that includes recruiters.
Mhm.
So they had to wait for these IT teams to get in every person's individually homes and set up these systems. And they were having to learn these systems. And they're having to get through and how to work from home and set up these new job boards that they never had to use before. So now you're starting to see like people are starting to rev. They're starting to go now. Things like, okay, we've been doing this for a while. It looks like we're not going back August, obviously. So
Right.
you're starting to see more jobs opening up. You're starting to see a huge influx of people getting work now. And it's because the flow is coming back. This is going to be the new normal. There was a huge stat on it because literally there was no one with software. That's
Hmm.
what it was. And people were like, they ghosted me. I'm like, they have not had a computer actually. So I had a client last week that was like, someone ghosted me and they just reached out to me saying that that day they were furloughed and now they're back. And I was like,
Wow.
well, there you go. So, um, there's reasons, not all of them are bad, but we just have to have, I get really frustrated when my clients don't have a curious mindset because there's so many things in the job industry that people don't know or assume is very black and white, and it is not. It's not. Like,
Hmm.
oh, aren't they going to assume I know MS Word? I'm like, the CEO doesn't even know MS Word. They have their assistants do everything for them. These people do not know you. Don't take off skills because you're so prestigious. We don't know you. Put them on. Especially if you're a certain age, some recruiters assume that you're not up with the new age technologies. Put the technologies on. Don't assume because if you're a certain age, we know that you know it. We actually don't. We actually think the opposite.
That's a good point.
I get a lot of techie guys that are like, I know they should know this. I'm like, we don't know you. And you're going to a recruiter who also does not know you, sir. And you're also 65. Please put the damn software on your resume and do not argue with the person that you paid to tell you this. So I'm usually a lot nicer to my clients, but now that I'm live, guys, this is what I'm thinking.
So, do you get a lot of that? Do customers get frustrated or clients get frustrated because they think everybody should already know everything about them? I
Mhm.
mean, does that happen a lot?
No, I digress, but as someone of this, it is obvious that I would know this, this, and this. I'm like, it's not. We get bad applicants just as
Yeah.
much as we get good applicants. Like they're assuming that all we're seeing is qualified candidates. It's crazy. Like, no, 70% of the people that I got, I'm not going to speak to. And that's because they don't even have their education. I had one yesterday that was the perfect resume, no phone number,
Oh,
no email address. It's just like they're so focused. They had 35 softwares on there. I wanted to talk to that person. But, as this being the 500th resume I've seen today, I'm not going to take the time to go into LinkedIn to type in his name, to reach out to him. And if you think we have time to do that, you're crazy. You're crazy. I'm also a wife. I'm also a mom. I do not work 24/7. Like people text me all the time at 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, what resume writer is writing at 9 o'clock at night for your pleasure?
but
Kind of
where
weird.
in the world are they? Maybe it's not 9 p.m. where they
Here,
are.
California. And I'm thinking about yesterday. Okay. And like they'll tell me like, I need it tonight. I'm like, I'm a recruiter. There's no recruiters up at 9:30 at night waiting for your resume. That's not happening. They're gonna wait until Monday. They're getting drunk. Stop it. They are.
Or having nice, quiet family time.
No, they're recruiters. They're getting drunk with their family. We see all walks of life. So we get the really nice people, and then we get the people that think they're above everybody else because they've been doing things for a certain amount of years, when in fact we're thinking like, wow, this person has no personal skills whatsoever. I can't put them in front of a CEO. I can't put them in front of these people because they're just so rude and cocky that they're not going to be able to collaborate. So please hone in your cockiness for statistics, facts, and a non-psycho personality.
Okay,
You'll
we
get
have somebody who I think came in a little late because they're um, asking about cover letters again. You want to
Mhm.
just recap on that for them?
If you are relocating, looking to get out of the industry, or absolutely in love with the company that you're going for, do a cover letter. If you're applying online and it's mandatory or an option, do a cover letter. If your industry does not require one, or if your companies that you're applying to do not require one, it is absolutely not needed and a waste of time.
Awesome. Thank you. I hope
Yep.
that helped. Great.
Yeah, bring on the questions, please.
Uh, while people are coming in and out, let's let people know how to get in contact with you.
Oh, yeah. So you can DM me directly, or you can go on to swansresumes.com and you can see all of our packages, our prices, everything that we do. You can also go to swansresumes.com/booking and book a free 15-minute consultation with me to see if we have what you need. I do also offer 30 and 60-minute consultations at $60 an hour $60 for a half an hour, $100 for an hour. And I go through mock interviews. I can go through your LinkedIn by detail, your resume by detail. You can just pick my brain. I'll tell you the truth. Today I had someone ask me about, should they put in a nickname because their name was super international? Yeah, make yourself relatable.
Okay. Did I type that right? Swansresumes.com.
Yeah, you
I
did.
did.
Me, I lost my glasses, so I did the little. I'm not old. So funny. Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
So, are there any industries that are hotter that are hiring more that you've noticed, or and also the opposite? Are there some that are just like not accepting anything, and you're not going to get in anytime soon?
Retail is really tough right now. That's the obvious. However, the corporate head is not. It's moving. A lot of corporate heads within retail business have shifted. They've gotten rid of a lot of secondary jobs, a lot of regional jobs.
Mm.
Loss prevention, is just there's so many jobs in loss prevention right now because of the influx of cyber media security, and then how people are working in stores and it's closed, and how people are wearing masks and can't see. So in-store security is crazy. Loss prevention, asset protection, and retail especially. And then medical has been overwhelming. I actually thought it would be the opposite because there'd be so many people utilizing, but a lot of people are getting into the device sales program, refunctions, volunteer restructurings. So medical and IT, technical architects, engineering, those are hiring like crazy because they need more people to work from home and they need more footprints in other areas. So IT, medical, and higher end retail is just booming right now. Also, anything with mental illness, therapy. I've been seeing a lot of therapists coming through as well. As they're seeing an influx in clients, they're realizing, what companies work for them, or if they want to go to a private practice or those types of things. So it's been really interesting.
Awesome. Here's another great question for you. How crucial is it to have an up-to-date LinkedIn profile?
It is your second half. So if you're going to be applying through LinkedIn, a lot of people don't realize that. So the ATS software, when you apply online through their website, it scans your resume. But if you're applying through LinkedIn, it scans the section that's underneath your education. And it's that 50 skill set section that you have to enter in manually. And you'll notice when you scroll down on the quick applies, it will say you must have, customer experience, you must have Python experience, you must have this, and that. So that's where you know, okay, those are the key elements I need to put in this section. And when you scroll down, I'll also tell you more than not who posted the job description directly, what percentage you rank, and then where you are among how many people have applied. So if you're going to be applying through LinkedIn and you think your resume is golden, they're not going to see it because your percentage is at 0 and you didn't update your actual profile. So the quick apply section is for people who have their profile 100%. If you don't, you're going to get those rejection emails.
Okay, so they need to have it up to date.
Yeah.
The short answer.
The short answer is yes. Yes. And then I get a lot of back and forth of people like some people tell me, don't put your resume on your profile. What, are you gonna get fired? Like you're reflecting it on your resume regardless. I mean, on your LinkedIn profile regardless. It's just sometimes easier for us to just pull it up and see it all in one instead of scrolling up and down a profile. So if there's some resume writers out there that don't want you to put it on your profile, I ask why. Do they not want other people to see that you're actually just sending out the same resume, maybe? I don't care. Just put it on your profile. It's easier for us. Yes, some of this information will be redundant, but you will also be able to see how well you speak to yourself, how well you put yourself together on a document, which, some people speak great and then they write like they're 3 years old.
Yeah.
Seen it. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. I love all these questions. I love it. But yeah, LinkedIn profile. I would have to say stay away from Indeed, guys. Indeed is no good. They hire companies to post fake or old job listings to generate traffic. And then when you apply to them, they, in return from that profit, sell your information to them. So like, oh, these people are interested in these kind of jobs in this market. And that's why you'll start receiving like, why are they sending me medical jobs? Why are they sending me to be a gas attendant? And you're like, oh, that's because Indeed has sold your information because you applied to a fake job description.
Wonderful.
Yeah, if they're over 30 days or even over 27, they're more than likely fake on there.
Now, what have you seen when applying for jobs in the U.S.? If you're out of state or out of the country, is there less of a chance that recruiters will look at your resume for a local job?
No, because if you're structuring your resume correctly, like in the last sentence of your summary, you could say, I'm looking to get into the US to utilize the skills within the tech industry, yada, yada, yada. Or I'm going to the US to finish my bachelor's and I want to, stay in Ohio. Like there's even in the cover letter, you can explain those things. What I do have to say is in my younger years, when we used to print out resumes way back in the day, I would see recruiters pick out the pretty ones, look at them because they were new and it's an eye catch through the black and white that we would always see. And then they would pick out the pretty ones first and the people's names that they can pronounce. And they would call them first. And the people that's names that they couldn't pronounce, they would wait until the last minute because they were so afraid that they were going to, say this person's name wrong and make them upset. And then I noticed that some of them would call them right before 5 o'clock, knowing that that's the time they're probably not going to answer. Then they would leave a voicemail. And the next week, these people would call back and say, hi, I'm so-and-so. And then they're like, okay, now that I have their name. And that actually puts them at a disadvantage because John has already called them back. John's already on the schedule. And now you have someone with an international name who's just barely talking to them next week and is getting on the schedule. So it definitely puts them at a lower hand for people that do that. Having a nickname is not always needed. Some people get very offended when I give them this advice, as some of them should, because it is ridiculous. The situation is ridiculous. But as a career coach, I know that the reality is that if you have a long name and you put, Ash in quotes, or Anna or Mona or whatever in front of your, middle and last name, they'll feel more comfortable calling you. And like, hi, Mona. And I guarantee you'll know that because they'll call you by the middle name.
Ah, yes.
Hi, Mona. Hey, Dave. Like, and that's when you'll know, like, okay, they're calling me back a lot quicker because you'll notice a difference from how quickly they've called you and how you've gotten no callbacks. So, I know it's really horrible to say, but nicknames do help, especially with Americans pronouncing names and their own stupid pride. That's what it
I
is.
have issues with that. Yeah.
Recruiters, if you are watching, it's called Google. You put in their name and you click listen on how to pronounce. I do that with all my clients. Okay. It's called
Ah,
respect. You learn how to say their name before you call them instead of ghosting them, not calling them, or calling them at the last minute. That's not your job. That's actually rude and it's lazy. Use Google Speak.
you're making all kinds of friends tonight.
I know. Yay! Friend party. No, there's a lot of bad apples out there, and people will
Mhm.
call me and go, I need 2 resumes. And I'll tell them, I'm not out of talking people out of business, but you really don't need 2 resumes. Unless, one is completely different industry, but your skill sets are the same. What are you
Yeah.
changing in your skill sets? Nothing. You shouldn't be taking away skill sets to formulate your resume. You should just be like, I know all of this. And they apply to so many areas, and then you don't have to worry.
Awesome. If there was one piece of advice, just one that you could give across the board, what would it be?
Put all of your qualifying attributes before your professional experience piece. We don't even read that section until we're on the phone with you. And that's just to hear about how you speak, how it correlates to the job description, and make sure you're not psycho. So if you can just as easy as possible come off as a qualified candidate in the fastest way possible, it is just the easiest way for me. When I get resumes where I'm like, check amount of years, check around, education, check they know these softwares, I pick up the phone immediately. And then while I'm waiting, I'm reading the rest. Like, and that's what you want. That's what you want because I haven't had enough time for you to tell me anything redundant because I haven't finished reading the document.
Okay.
So answer the phone too, guys. Answer the phone because we'll just call the next person. And if the next person blows us away, you're gone.
Mm, yeah.
We're not going to
Now,
wait until next Tuesday.
now I know in the old day when we used to print out resumes like you were talking, a lot of times you would get people, especially if the job was posted on Monster, Indeed, you get a lot of people that looks like they're mass applying to jobs that they're not even qualified for. So the ATS system just kicks all those people out, right? Makes it a lot easier.
Yep. Kicks them all out. And the like more of the startups, the tech startups, they use the ATS software too. But like with the mom and poppy stuff, they
Hmm.
still have an online system. So they'll see all of the applications, but they do still rank them. So even if they don't have like the actual ATS software, like I remember when Justice was barely starting up, they had a ranking system that wasn't ATS, but they would still formulate it by experience and education.
Hmm.
So yeah, and that's what I want to point out too is people need to put on their expired certifications and licenses too, because if you're going between a candidate that doesn't have the license and you used to have it, as a recruiter, I can be like, okay, this person's not going to have a problem getting it versus this candidate where I have no idea if they're going to pass the test. And then you can put expired next to the certification. But as I know that you've had experience already learning that program, already doing the education, and you've already been certified in it before. So I know you're not going to have a problem getting it again. So don't ever take away qualifications, guys. Don't do it. Stack it on. The
Now,
mind
are there
of a recruiter.
Yeah. Are there certain formats that are preferred, or does it not make a difference because they all go through the ATS? Because I mean, like I said, back in the day, there used to
Yeah.
be all different ways
Yeah.
to format them.
So I know a lot of my graphic designer clients love to do like the graph with the picture and the hyperlinks, which is totally fine. But if they're going to be networking to their job, that's good. Their resume is going, they're messaging people on LinkedIn. Here's my resume, It's not going through ATS. Now, when they apply, all of the words are there, so they're still going to get through. The thing is that when they are applying, their name goes in their date of birth, and then they have to just fix it.
Oh.
That's literally when people go, get past the ATS software. I'll show you how, $500. Don't do that. It just means that if you have a more elaborate template, you have to go through and unscramble your personal information before you press submit. If you're going to be applying a lot, that gets annoying. So you want to have a more ATS compliant template that's a little less elaborate, and it happens less. Do not pay for these people. It is a scam. That's literally all it means, is that you have to just retype in your name. And if you have a MacBook, after the third time, it auto-populates for you anyways. Like, most of the younger kids, they don't care. They're like, I'll enter my name 40 times. But, the older generations, they're like, no, I'm going to be applying a lot. Give me something very straight base. And honestly, once a recruiter sees a resume, I'm looking very quickly to see if they're qualified. I do put a nod. I'm like, oh, this one looks cool. But that literally lasts about that long. Oh, this looks cool. Okay, no. Like, are they qualified? No, but they know how to do Illustrator. Like, just focus on qualifying aspects, guys. Like, just focus on qualifying aspects.
Awesome.
Yeah. But yeah, I love, the flow of everything with the job. I'm getting more and more, not on Mondays. Usually Mondays are my hot spot where my clients are like, I got callbacks, and we're like, yeah, we have a group chat. So we all like, like back and forth. But we get overloaded on Mondays, but I got tons of clients yesterday actually get callbacks, which was so exciting. So it's like makes my whole day. Like when people tell me they got callbacks, especially when it's been super quick since we've done their documents. They're like, I'm gonna apply today. I'm like, do it. And then they'll get a call back that day. And then it will seriously just like, it makes me so happy. It makes me so happy. You usually have to apply before 1:00, guys, to get an answer the same day.
Okay.
But
Well, it sounds like it's very rewarding what you do.
It is. Everyone gets some clients that don't appreciate that you've put 2 hours of work into a document and you're not spending time with your son. And that's right after a meeting with Australia at 3 a.m. and you've on 2 hours of sleep. I'm on those calls. And, they think that I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs going, oh, I'll get to her resume soon. Like, no, I currently have like 70 active clients. We're doing edits. We're doing interview prep. Like, I'm constantly, if I can't talk to you, I'll tell you, okay, Ren or Rebecca or whoever will talk to you. If we're having IT problems, I'll go, okay, Anthony, can you answer this guy? And he's been helping this guy trying to change a PDF into a Word document, or a Word document into PDF, sorry. So, we're really busy, and we're really busy all the time, but we make sure that the documents speak to the people, and we do spend hours on these documents. Hours. So when people aren't happy with them, it's usually because they don't know how to speak to it. They're like, I don't have B2B experience. What is that? I'm like, business to business. Like, oh yeah, I do that. I'm like, correct. That's why I put it in your document. How about you ask? Because I do this for a living and I'm here to help you. Like, when you get a job, I'm going to be crazy happy. Crazy happy. Can we just remember that? Maybe a little bit.
Right, because if they get a job, you're successful.
If they get a job, I immediately, I am so happy. I'll scribble out their names and post it on my Instagram of like, got another one. Like, I'll put in collages when we get just like a shit ton. Like, and I'll write out all the people's names. Like, when people get back to me and they're like, I'm unhappy with this, and then I explain to them like the whys, I've gotten actually people writing me sorry notes after
Really?
Yeah, I've had this one guy, okay? He demanded a refund and I didn't know what I was talking about. And then 3 months later, he actually wrote me a hand personalized letter that said, I'm really sorry after, our talk because I continued to use my resume, got nowhere. And out of spite and madness one night, I submitted yours and got a call back the next day.
Wow.
And he resubmitted his money back to me.
Awesome. That's great.
There's not a lot of people that will do that, let me tell you.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, I've actually had people to pretend that they hate their documents. And then because I know so many recruiters, they're like, isn't this your client? And I'm like, what resume did they use? Oh, it's mine. Yeah. Like there's people all the time that will pretend they don't like documents and then use them. I'm not up for it because these are not just like whatever documents. I literally care about my clients getting the job because therefore I get in return, like, hey, she helped me get a job. So I don't play around with these documents. I don't. And it's some people like they don't even realize that every single start of my sentence all the way down to the left of the document will never start the same way. So all the way form, it will never start the same way or even in the same letter necessarily. So if it's managed, supervised, led, acted, then it needs to be that way, but it will never be managed, super, like, no, change it. And I'll tell my staff, like, no, there's too many S's. No, this is a form because as a recruiter, those simple things I know, I'm going to see this 500 document and it says manage all the way down. I'm going to next. Like you've put no thought into this document. Or you've copy and pasted your duties. I know your duties. I'm the recruiter. What did you do with these duties is what I want to know. Did you increase client support? Did you train people? Were you promoted? I don't care that you're a customer service and you have great customer service. Duh, I know that. Did you increase sales by 40%? No. Well, then you didn't do great customer service. How are you in sales and don't know your numbers? Come on, guys. Help me help you.
Rebecca wants to know what your biggest accomplishment is thus far, business-wise.
Oh my gosh. I think when I was helping the college students, that helped me the best because these are people who have absolutely no professional skills. And being able to do that was my happiest. But my overall accomplishment, overall, just getting a team, establishing my company, and being able to tell some other big dogs that there's others running with them. So it's really exciting. We're generating year-to-date funds of over $500,000. So once we get more staff and pushing, like people ask me all the time, can I Venmo you? I'm like, no, we're a company. Like they just think I'm like some little in my house doing resumes. Like, no. How do I pay you? On the website that we just went over? Put it in your cart? I'm really confused. And people are like, let me get on with you. I'm like, have you never Amazon, right? You put it in your cart, PayPal. Anyways, I'm good.
So you guys are growing very well.
Yeah, we're doing pretty well. And honestly, that's just because I'll tell people straight up when they don't need services and when they do. People are just like, well, they'll tell me, thank you for being honest, but may I ask you why you just didn't tell me that you needed a second resume? And I'm just like, because when I produce the second resume and it's exactly the same, other than one sentence, I've ripped you off. Because that's all it would be, because we're just showcasing your skills. For showcasing your skills, your second document is what? Not showcasing your skills? So no, I'm not going to charge people. I'm not going to pretend they need multiple documents because my only job is to get them to a person. And if they're submitting all these random documents, they're not going to get to anybody. They're not.
I know there's a lot of people on LinkedIn who will love to hear that you have integrity.
Sass. I promise. I'm really endearing with my clients. Like I will tell my kids, I'm like, you are so cute. Like I work with LAPD and I love the LAPD because they have like these rough and tumble voices and I'll call them. They're like, hey, Britt. I'm like, oh, hey. Yeah, Secret Service. Yeah, they're like we deal with everybody from, part-time cashiers to legit CEOs of companies. And your resume should literally be the same for both. You're just reflecting your skills in both documents. So if people are charging you more for a CEO resume versus another resume, I mean, the only thing I would see is if there are going to be multiple documents, obviously that's more, guys. But if you're one pager versus one pager, it should be the same price, guys. Should be the same price. Should be the same price. I go through, I'm like, wow, people are shady.
They are. They really
I wish
are.
I didn't have a Jiminy Cricket. I would be rich.
So do you offer interview coaching as well?
I do. I offer 30 and 60-minute coaching. For the 30-minute, I kind of just go over their demons and talk them through it. Like people are like, I have a job gap, or I was fired from my last job, or I have a DUI, or I'm worried about my age, or, cancer, the whatever, we talk through it. And then for the hour we talk through it, but we also do like a mock interview where I get my straight face on. And then after we'll talk about like what you could have said or your body language or other things that you can have done and why. But my main thing out of everything is just to make you feel as confident and calm as possible. Because what I notice between the executives that get the jobs and the other people is they are stupid calm, almost to like an arrogance where they're just like, I've got this job. And it's not cockiness, but it's an air of just calm. And that's what will get you the job, because no one likes a erratic Nancy. I'm erratic Nancy. Sorry, team.
They probably know that.
Yeah, they do. Even my old assistant, Sarah, remember I used to clean my desk? Oh, yeah, it's funny. But yeah, just calm. Again, utilize your personality. If you get nervous and they ask you what your biggest weakness is, say interviews. It's funny. And if they tell you like, have you ever had conflict within the workforce? Just laugh and just say, well, I've seen it. And it just like people are like, actually, no, I don't put myself in those positions. It's like, wow, you must be a fun one at the party. Like, that's not going to get you anywhere. Just be personally like, yeah, I actually have, or no, but someone next to me, and this is how I suggested they handle it. Just be honest, but don't be too honest where you're like, I hated my boss. He was a jackass, so I left. Don't be that honest. Just be like, they didn't align with my values and strengths. That's also honest. Means the same thing in happy voice. Okay. He's a jackass. I didn't agree with him. That's how it is.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate you coming on with me and sharing all your wisdom. I know I've seen you do other talks in other places, and every time I hear you talk, I learn so much.
Yay.
So I'm so glad I was able to share you with everyone. And if anybody still has comments from watching the replay, please drop them. I know Brittney will be happy to answer any comments. Please, if you're interested in her services, check her out at swansresumes.com. And she can do wonders for you and get you to talk to a person.
An actual
person. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, just whatever you guys are worrying about with your resumes, I promise you it is not as hard as you think it is. Just stick to your core skills and what the job listings are asking for as an industry, and you'll be fine.
Awesome. Thank you
Yay!
so
Thank you, Michelle, for
much.
having me.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
All right. Have a good night, everyone. Bye.